Welcome to another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. It's your host, Jenny Simon. And today I want to wish you happy emancipation and happy Carnival. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have a conversation. We'll start off with a conversation surrounding the Carnival. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.
The last time I drink so, don't my Susan get away now.
I remember that night,
Yeah, what?
Man.
Gosh. I drinking whole night tonight, eh? Yeah, boy. Looking bad.
Never get ready.
Hello. Adi, why? Fellas, I'll go first later in Carnival City. You can't see your boy.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but better get something again before you roll it.
Johnny, where you going? Junior, Johnny drunk. Why you making Johnny drive so? Johnny, come out. Don't make Johnny drive so. Johnny has 2 trains to leave for a run with you. Why you want me to do, Johnny? Johnny, come on, Johnny, not Johnny.
Hey,
Johnny.
Hey. That's the place you know about reach now. Yeah. Okay, God. Yeah, let me take one, eh? Yeah, man. Right. Come on, I can't say I have to go and pack up now. Drink that fast now. Yeah, I have to go and pack up now.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. It's Carnival season, and or might I dare say, it's NDC Carnival season. Since NMP are not allowed, they say NMP people eating their food, and time for them to eat the food. So it's NDC Carnival, and it manifested itself in the calypsos for the most part. I was unable to go to the tents. I normally would do the tents, but I didn't this time. And so what I saw was the semifinals. And for the most part, the Calypsonians sang on the previous administration and the leader of the opposition. And after they came from stage and they would do that little interview, to say how they thought they did. And so I realized that most of the calypsos were written by two individuals. So it made me to think that that was not the mindset of the calypsonians themselves. And it was obvious in some cases because the calypsonians, some of them weren't able to carry the tune. It's like they didn't really understand, in some cases, what they were singing. So these two individuals, they wrote the calypsos and spread it throughout two of the major tents, which is under one roof, under one umbrella, Kaiso Baths and the Hubbard's Fireworks, I think it is. Most of their calypsonians their calypsos were written by two individuals. And I thought that was interesting and that I should bring that to the nation. Yes, truly. I mean, I want to say that I have arrived. And the interesting thing is truth really hurts. I think I made about 3 of the calypsos. Simon Says was in there, Jenny was in there, and one of the other ones I was referred to, name not called, but if you listen to the calypso, you know who they're speaking about. I would address Peter Eddy and his misinformation song, because he was misinformed, really. And I guess the judges saw it too. That's why he didn't make the finals. The other one, I guess I'm sure he has mirrors in his home. And so I'll just have him take a good look in the mirror. You see, there is a Sudanese proverb that says, and let me get it here, that it says, don't let the pigs drag you into the mud, because that's where they're comfortable. Listen well, don't let the pigs drag you into the mud, because that's where they're comfortable, right? A few months ago, I was speaking to Elwin McQuilkin, that's the Black Wizard. It's close to a year ago. It was not long after the elections. And he said to me, relative to the conversation we were in, he said to me, you remember my song, NNP is a mentality? I said, how could I forget that? I mean, we danced to that all elections 2013. And he said, that was not just for the NNP. He said, listen to what I said. It is a mentality. And so anyone with that mentality can be referred to as an NNP. And he said, there are a lot of NDC supporters right now with that mentality. Black Wizard, you spoke a book. It is so true and relevant. I think you should do a remix. And the thing is that the NDC, that word, that mentality, that phrase, it's more indicative to the NDC than it is to the NNP. It is so amazing. It came back to me when I listened and watched the Calypso semifinals on the weekend, last weekend. And so I say, Elwin McQuilkin, the Black Wizard, take a bow. Take a bow. you see, we continue with, that is the NDC administration and its supporters and its members. They continue with the condemnations, the things they condemned, so to speak. They continue with those same things like victimization and the nepotism and the tribalization. I mean, this past month, we've had several, at least 3 persons who was forced out of their jobs, be it forced into resigning or forced into retiring. And it's sad when the board, the chairman and the deputy chairman of the board could ask an individual, a general manager, to resign because she's going to get fired anyway. And said to her, the board is not satisfied, and I'm paraphrasing here, with her anymore. This board just came into being a few months ago, after the elections anyway, and it took them a while to set up the new boards. And so this individual now has to send in a resignation letter. Forced out of her job. Well, we know the narrative with the COP, who most people on island thinks that he was forced out of his job and that the retiring because of illness, it's just a farce. I was saying to someone, maybe he and our sister, Franca Bernadine, saw the same doctor when she was the leader of the NDC and had to resign because of illness. They saw the same. Because we all know that was not so. She wasn't sick and dying and needed to rest, or else she'd get a heart attack. She probably would have, because of the behavior of the NDC members and executive members who tormented her and forced her out of the leadership. I don't know if she probably wasn't doing a good job. Maybe not. But wait for the next convention. Really. But she was sick, however, returned to the Ministry of Health as advisor this time around. And she was a lead in the beginning and then advisor. I guess the doctor gave her an okay for that to go back to work in a stressful, as they would put it, ministerial complex. So as I was saying, I got mentioned in 3 calypsos that I've heard, because as I said, I haven't heard the preliminaries. I haven't been to the tents, so I don't know. There might have been more, but then remember, 2. The mindset, the calypsos were written, and the melody was written by 2 individuals, right? So it must have been, they might have had more, but who cares? I am enjoying the fact that I'm being sung on, because it means that Simon Says it's touching the nerves. It's touching the nerves of some people out there. And that's a good thing. When I got a call a couple evenings ago, and when I answered the phone, I didn't recognize the number, not in my contacts. And when I answered the phone, a voice, a woman, a female voice there, and she said to me, I was given your number because we need a voice. And somebody gave me your number. And that touched my core. because it means that we're doing something right here on Simon Says. And it was a market vendor, a lady who was in the stadium. Her booth was at the stadium. And they were moved from the stadium, as we all know, and brought back to the marketplace. And she asked me to come and see what was happening at the market. Please, begged. I couldn't go the next day, and I told her, and she was like, please, we're begging. And I really couldn't, but the following day I went. And she was complaining to me that she and others, they don't have rest in the market. In the area they put, she's on 66, booth 66. And that there are young people coming there on a daily basis, smoking marijuana, playing loud music. And in other words, that little area there, it's like a ghetto, really. I think, where they come, they smoke. Boys and girls, young boys and girls, smoke, they cuss, they use obscenities. She she has asthma. She's asthmatic. And for the most part, can't go to work because the smoking affects her breathing. And she said sometimes she has to go home, leave early. Some days she just can't come in at all. And she's unable to earn as she should since she went back to the marketplace. And they sit on their tables, they sit on their chairs, they can't perform as they should. And she's begging for help. She said she called the Ministry of Infrastructure and the individual who is responsible for them in the marketplace. And the first time the lady took her call and she explained, and they did nothing. And since then, I guess she saved her number and she'd been calling and they refused to answer. They would not take her call. And the young people said to her when she asked them to please stop the smoking, that the Prime Minister said he's going to legalize marijuana. And so they can't stop them. The market vendors cannot stop them from smoking there. I asked about security. She said the security comes in the evening. That's when they're gone. I asked about the police, if they had spoken to the police, right? She said they did. Nothing seems to work for these market vendors. And they're crying out for help. They need the authority to help them to earn a living, to try and earn. It's already rough as it is in the marketplace. And for the most part, she's not there. She can't come down herself and a couple of the others right in that area. 66, 65 in the booths, that area. So I'm begging and I'm pleading for them. But I say this to say that Simon Says ain't going nowhere. Simon Says has a following that says we must stay and we must continue to do what we're doing. And who don't like it, lump it, because we here to stay. God's willing, God's blessing. Once I'm healthy and alive, I would be here to speak for the voiceless. To speak for the voiceless. So I want to say to the Calypsonians, it's not personal. So don't get personal. If you can't deal with the issues, if you can't deal with the facts, if you can't rebut and come with your facts, if you have, which obviously you don't get personal, because it don't bother me, really. I have learned to stand up for what is wrong. I have learned to swim against the tide. I have learned to stand up for what is right. and to speak for the voiceless. I've been doing it for years. I did it during the NDC time on NDC Heartbeat. I was Sister Jenny then, and I was loved. But I will not be a hypocrite. I would not sit here and see wrongdoings and not speak up. I'm sorry. So you have a lot more singing to do on Simon Says. You could start now. You could do Parang, Christmas coming. Could do independent song on Simon Says. And Carnival and the next one and the next one. And that would be it. That would be it. But the struggle continues. The struggle continues. Unemployment, the young people need jobs. Our people, our citizens need jobs. The youths are killing each other. Violence is at an all-time high. Mental illness, mental health at an all-time high. 6 suicides for the year so far. We're halfway through. Young people are killing themselves as well. Where is the Minister of Youth? Where is the Minister for Youth, of Youth, for Youth, by Youth? Poverty rate is climbing. Cost of living skyrocketing. We need good governance. Going and stand up on the tarmac, line up to meet the Prime Minister every time he travels and come back is non-productive. You leave your offices, your ministries in the middle of the day to go down to Point Celine at Morris Bishop International, line up the tarmac to what we in North Korea to meet the Prime Minister every time he travels. That's a joke. What we paying you for? And we don't know what's going on within these ministries. As a matter of fact, what I hear is heartbreaking. The public servants are demoralized. And not just the NNP ones, the NDC ones as well. They are grumbling and whispering behind your backs about your behavior, about your arrogance. So we need good governance. We need to be governed, period. Right? We need to see a plan. What's your vision for the country going forward? Give us a short-term vision. What's your vision for the next year? What's your plan? What's your program? How about the rural area? What's going on there? I said it before and I'm saying it again. Grenada is not the South, and by extension, these days, St. David. No. What's happening in St. Patrick? What are you doing? What are you doing in St. Andrew? What we call our bread basket. Have you found the basket? We don't even know what the basket is, much less the bread. Come on now. So if you can find the time, if it's okay, that's what you do. You just find the time to talk about back and forth about Carnival and who's on which committee and who shouldn't be there and who you're going to fire. I don't know, you could have fired volunteers. And in the meantime, our young people are out there lawless, clueless, and expressing their anger in violence and their frustration by putting a rope in their necks. Please, sit down in your office and do some work. Work with them. Work with the young people, sir. I take that, sir, back. I'm sorry. It's just how I grew up. But I take that, sir, back. I take that suburb. So I got a little passion in there, but I have to come back to the Kaiso and Teacher Eddie and his song of misinformation. And it wasn't, I know you say what they have a two meaning. His one was one meaning. He himself was misinformed. So I want to talk about the Grenada Development Bank and the fact that Teacher Eddie said we were misinformed because Andy got the loans during the NNP time period. And I want to say to Teacher Eddie, you're correct to a point. And he did get a loan in 2019, $1 million plus, from during the reign of the former NDC administration, NNP administration. He did. And another one for 308,000, I think it was. And he had it at one point. He had them combined. But my issue was never with Andy and his loans and the loans he got. Because anybody could apply for a loan or loans. It's up to the institution to see whether or not they're valuable and can get that loan, or give them the loan, or not, or turn them down. So I don't have an issue with Andy applying for a loan or getting loans. My issue is with the board, the NDC board that governs the bank. And I say the NDC board because it is an NDC board. It's almost like an NDC executive in probably a constituency or something. It's almost like it's an executive. We have the treasurer of the NDC chairing the board. We have former parliamentarian on the board, NDC parliamentarian on the board, among others who are all NDC supporters. And that is my issue. And to go further, I have an issue with them servicing and giving Andy, adding to the loans he had at the bank during the NNP time that he was not servicing. And that's my issue. And Teacher Eddie, that's the issue. So listen to some facts and some real information, Teacher Eddie. In June of 2022, the previous board turned down an application made by Mr. Andy Williams on behalf of his company, A&D Distributors Limited. He was turned down. Listen to the date, in June of 2022. The NDC came in, and of course it was before, I think it was the 6th of June. I would clarify that a little later. But it was before the elections, because it was the previous board. The elections was on the 23rd. On the 20th of December, let's say average 6 months later, 20th of December 2022, Andy Williams received a loan from the GDB for $300,000 under the MSME program. We have a couple documents here to show Teacher Eddie facts. On the 20th of December 2022. That was NDC in office, Teacher Eddie. NDC in office. Get your facts. The MSME program, and I would go into that in a little details later on, was a program coming after the pandemic, trying to bring back normalcy to the country and create jobs and all of that. It was mainly for small hotels, and they had a maximum of $300,000 to give. That's the maximum Mr. Andy Williams got. I'm not sure if he has a hotel. There are things we don't know. So maybe he has a small hotel that we don't know about, but we would like them to tell us. Minister Ron, in an effort for transparency and accountability, which you wanted from the chairman of the Queen Show Committee, we would like to know if your colleague in cabinet and parliament have a small hotel somewhere on this island that we don't know about, somewhere in the state. So that includes Carriacou and the PT Lark League. He got the $300,000 under the MSME program. Then, in documents that I retrieved from the Registry of Grenada, which is a public thing, a public place, that you can achieve this information. We had a deed, a fifth deed and a sixth deed, where Mr. Williams, Andy Williams, and the deeds dated the 24th of February, 2023. If I'm still sane and senile, and not senile, 2023, the NDC is in office as we speak, not the NNP. On the 24th of February, 2023, that NDC board, indeed, the fifth deed, consolidated two loans and added to the loans, gave him an additional loan. We were told to pay off debt and to restart a new wholesale business. We've seen him cutting up saltfish and on that tent in the limes and selling potato and stuff again. We hear about the Sunday market in the lagoon, saltfish, flour, sugar, rice, and in Cameroon Park, that turned a political park. Now, I ain't see nobody demonstrating. I ain't see nobody talking about the Cameroon Park and what it has become for the Minister of Implementation. He was given a loan, another loan. So 2 loans were consolidated. One loan for $308,000 and another loan for $1,074,656.72. $1,074,656.72. That is the loan from 2019 that he got were during the NNP time. Together, they totaled $1,382,656.72. Then there was a sixth deed that the NDC Board of Directors gave Minister Andy Williams a further loan dated the 24th of February as well, 23, in the amount of $677,767. So we add the two together now, the $1,382,656.72. I'll take that again. The $382,656.72 together with the loan the NDC board gave to him. And I'm stressing the NDC board because no other board or no other bank would have approved a loan added to what Mr. Williams had with the NDC. In fact, at this stage, him being a parliamentarian and a cabinet member, he should not have been receiving loans from the Grenada Development Bank. The law, the act states so, and we'll get to that. So the total now is $2 million. That is adding the new loan to the consolidated loan, the unserviced consolidated loans. We now have Mr. and Mr. Williams own the bank, $2,060,423.72. Not forgetting the MSME, $300,000 they gave him in December. Do the maths. 300,000 added to the 2 million give us a total of $2,360,423.72. So when the nation, the people were saying Mr. Williams got a $2.3 million loan from the Grenada Development, and they were correct. They were correct. And this gentleman is in our parliament, is in our cabinet, receiving money added to what he had there from a government bank, which the Act states should not happen. But it's a new NDC. We're not doing things the same way. We can break the law. And then when a young man smokes a spliff or eats a coconut, he goes to jail for months, years. Hell, they're planning to put the beauticians in this country, barbers, hairdressers, estheticians, everybody, to put us in jail for 3 years if we impay our license. And they let go a man who murdered his wife, chop up, put in a suitcase, and bury her in the backyard. He's free. But they're planning to put us in jail. We got to talk about that too. Yes, we have content of writing. No writing. So we're doing the math. So we add up now. And Mr. Williams only have 1% per annum interest to pay it. To pay back the people for the $2.3 million loan that he had with the GDB. He was asked about that loan. He couldn't answer. He stuttered. He go back to 2017 when he had a fire. Let's listen to that clip.
But give us the lead of the opposition, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, surrogates of the New National Party, have expressed concern about a loan that you received from the Grenada Development Bank. They're saying that it is a glaring conflict of interest that you should be receiving a loan from a state-owned entity, a loan that loans that are usually disbursed for development purposes. What is the reality there where that's concerned? Now, the New Today, who I believe was the first newspaper publication in Grenada to address this. No other media entity has really addressed this, and now we're going to address this on the Bub Report. In the New Today report, it says that according to you, they're quoting you, they said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here, Minister?
So let me just say this, Kelon. Now, I have been a customer of the bank for about 5-6 years. If you remember in 2017, I had a fire where everything got destroyed, right? And it was the Grenada Development Bank that assisted me somewhat in that way. So I've been a customer of the bank for 5-6 years now. And, yes, I approached them before the elections and so, and it's all had to do with business, right? And, and listen, let me just say this, that I'm someone who believes that the truth will come out. And when people try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it, I just stay quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not too sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, go ahead, Mr. Williams. Go ahead. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right? No, a gentleman. The only thing that was a gentleman once, he picked up the phone, and in a casual conversation, he asked me a question, and I answered him, and he took that and he put it out, and that's
Mr. Worm.
That was the only case where.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, ask him the question. Just, all right. So, and that was the only statement that was made from my part, not giving that person the permission to send it out, but they went ahead and sent it out, right? So that's it on the whole case with the Grenada Development Bank. And
what? First of all, Mr. Williams did not answer the question. And what he didn't say is that he was turned down in 2022. And he got the loans, as I said before, in end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023. He got new loans when he was minister and should not have gotten the loans. He's not the only one in the cabinet of Grenada and the Parliament of Grenada that received loans from the GDB. We have Minister Lacrette receiving some $1.7 million loan. I don't have the exact figures on that one yet. It takes time in the registry to get to the registry. So more than one of them breaking the law. But that's no problem. We have some young ministers on the road driving. Ask them to show you where they did their driver's license. Or to tell you if they did their driver's license like everybody else. Go do your theory. You practice, you do your theory, you pass your theory, you do your practical. You fail, you pass, you might get your license. Ask them. They're driving new car, fancy big cars on the road now. Whoosh, 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 watch. Driving going nowhere in some instances. Ask them if they did. A young fella the other day was picked up, a couple of young fellas in the Belmont area for involving in that type of behavior. Getting license for people, helping with, together with a police officer who must be involved, getting license for people that didn't do the exam. But we have members of the cabinet driving who did not do the exams. Y'all think it easy in this country? Yeah. We was ever the worst ever. And I make no apologies by saying so. If a set of young people doing anything they want, saying anything they want, nobody to rein them in because they win their seat. And even with number 10 being added, oh God, number 10 had a voice in the parliament as an opposition. Number 10, no, voiceless. Sit down on the side of the government. Every parliament, voiceless. When she had a voice as an opposition member. You understand? So, I'm going to read to you the act. The provisions of the first schedule shall govern the Constitution, operations, and otherwise in relation to Section 3, subsection 2, the Grenada Development Bank Act. The schedule state, and I quote, the bank shall not make subloans to a director of the bank, to a member of the legislature of the state of Grenada, or to any company controlled by any such director or member of the legislature. The legislature being the members of cabinet and parliament, or to the close relatives of any such director or member of the legislature. Section 5, schedule of the GDB Act. Folks, I could go on. There are a lot more information and evidence I have for Teacher Eddie. So we're going to meet up and I'll give you the rest, and the next year, you go put together a better calypso. So as I said earlier on, we in Carnival mode, NDC Carnival mode. And our line minister, on a program last week, made a comment. I'll let you listen him.
Minister, I want to know the true situation with the Queen Show. Yeah. I've been hearing various versions. You being the minister, I know you probably have the version that folks will really like to hear. We have heard Ms. Jenny Simon, we heard Ms. Shama Wells, others making serious worrying allegation about yourself and the Spicemas board, especially the political interference and so forth. What is your response to the resignation and the whole Queen Show debacle? Let's hear.
So Queen Show will go on. None of what is being spoken of by individuals that you call is true. No one can produce any letter that I submitted disrespecting anyone, attempting to call out NNP, NDC. I don't have time for that. If I have to make the email public, I will do so, but no one can produce any letter. So all the statements going about and so on, that's totally false, and it's only coming from one section of the population, I must say, and they are unable to produce anything, and they can quote me on that. See, the other thing is, I don't want to support going down a rabbit hole with negativity, because that is what it is. It was just designed to distract ultimately the queens from participating in the thing, etc.
That guy is a pathological liar. First of all, there was a resignation letter. It was copied to the chairman of the board. The resignation letter was made to him, and it was copied to the chairman of the board, the CEO of the Spicemas Corporation, and the prime minister. I leave that one there. Secondly, Mr. Redhead says that we did that to distract the girls and to stop them from participating after we spent months from March getting them ready for a pageant, and have some of these girls still leaning on us. And we were trying to, oh, come on, that is so low down, Mr. Redhead. When it comes to accountability and transparency, that is so funny, because the chairman of the board and the board of directors had all the information they needed to have. The director responsible for finance on the board was at every event the group of us had, because we were not a committee. Nobody hired us. Nobody put us on a committee. We were volunteering, right? He was at every event. These events were sponsored by corporate citizens and friends of Ms. Lloyd. Sponsored. You want accountability of something you didn't put up money for? Did you give the Queen Show Committee money? Right? You're talking accountability, Mr. Redhead? How do you account for selling the ladies' car? We know he lied. This is the same individual that lied about the car, selling a car that did not belong to him, went to the newspaper and said the owner gave it to him. But when the story burst, he showed up with $18,000 cash. 10 one day, 8 the next. We want some accountability here and transparency. Where did you get that $18,000 cash? And the car you sold for $10,000 that was later sold, resold for $31,000 with a $21,000 profit. Tell us about that, Mr. Redhead. Did you and your advisor get anything from that $21,000? We're asking. That's the kind of transparency and accountability we need. You're the one in office. And when you're on TV, look us in the eye when you speak. Don't bend down your head like Tom Julie. Look up. Look us in the eye when you're telling lies on national TV. Right? There was a resignation letter. You don't see no letter, you don't know. And so why I was asking Miss Lloyd to stay and see the girls through it when she resigned. And Miss Lloyd didn't just resign because of that letter. She was pressured from day one. Once my name came up, I was the first. And then when names like Brenda Batiste and Shema Wells came up, it got worse. She was threatened by one director saying she's opening up herself for sabotage by hiring NNP supporters. I remember a director on the board in a board meeting. So it was a build-up. You're right, it was a build-up. But you getting involved in something you shouldn't cause it climaxed to the forced resignation. That's what y'all good at, forcing people to resign. But y'all bundle a whole church to kill a mouse. You bundle a church to kill a mouse, and the mouse get away. I'm here to live another day to expose the lies. Folks, this is a wrap of this episode of Simon Says. It was great conversing with you as usual, keeping them honest. Thank you for joining Simon Says. Hope to see you at our next episode. Same time, same place. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.